Hey guys, we're here at Long Beach Comic and Horror Con 2013 in Long Beach, California. This is the 5th year of the show, and so we've been coming from the beginning. They actually do two versions. There's a spring one-day expo. You might have seen our video on that from back in May. And then there is the larger scale one, which takes over 2-3 days in the weekend. And so we have loved the show in the past. If you've checked out our site, we're big on classifying the conventions. And so what we expect from this show are 3 categories to be particularly strong in. Wednesday Warrior, meaning a big focus on the actual collecting of comics and finding those types of things. The other is Collector's Corner, tons of different collectability, whether it be in toys or the comics. And then Cosplay Palooza. We expect to see a lot of great cosplay this weekend. And so we're going to be taking a look around. On top of those traditionally strong areas, they've also are always great with panels, lots of choices there usually using 5 to 7 different rooms, and even in their one-day version in the spring, they have the panel selections, and that's always kind of fun. This year in the spring, we'll be seeing in 2014 a 2-day version of the expo, and then they'll be back next fall with another bigger convention scale. So anyway, we're going to go inside and take a look around.
Personally, as a lifelong comic book fan myself, it's great to see a comic convention here in the city as well. So thanks for coming out to Long Beach, and thank you all for having us.
Well, welcome. Are we on now?
One of the things we like at Long Beach Comic and Horror Con is the panels, and so they have 7 different areas, including a kids area down in the exhibit hall, that have different types of programming, really from open to close on Saturday and Sunday. And so the spotlight's on different creators, a masquerade ball with cosplay, and then this year a really cool thing they did is a push with the animation. And so they have a big focus on a nice Young Justice voice acting kind of reunion panel, and also Disney Afternoons was very popular. So tons of great panels, cool things to kind of keep you entertained. Archaea, Boom, Top Cow, all those publishers kind of doing their own little things too. So some fun stuff with the panels and a great way to kind of entertain yourself while you're at the con.
There's lots of different bat symbols. So you can kind of draw any kind of bat symbol you want. What I usually do is kind of start with the ears on the bat symbol and draw the pointy marks pointing away for the wings. So maybe actually what I'll do is start in the middle, the pointy ears, and then I'll start to work on the wings.
The second question was the origins of developing the show, and this is a voice acting panel, so I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I was aware of the Young Justice comic, but it was Sam Register who runs Warner Brothers Television Animation, who came to Brandon and I and said they wanted something that was sort of Justice League, but younger. So how about Young Justice?
How do they come up with these ideas?
Yeah. So that was something that actually really intimidated Brandon and I, because there have been these 2 great shows, Justice League Unlimited and Teen Titans. Yeah. And we were afraid of both those shows because they were really good. We thought, how can we carve out our own space? And so we tried to ground our show, do things that would make it feel very real, like with costuming, the way the uniforms were sort of specifically designed, things like the time and date stamps, things that would really ground it. We came up with this idea of this covert ops team. Yeah, grounded things like clones and magic Clarion boys and stuff like that.
Stick with the real.
Right, but even amid the superhero sci-fi and fantasy, we tried to find things that would make the characters feel very real, make the relationships feel very real, and make them sort of teenagers first, spies second, and superheroes third. And that was how we developed the show.
I do think one thing that's really changed since when we started the Disney Afternoon is the lack of a Michael Eisner. Because when I started at Disney, and Jim had already been doing this for a while, Michael personally chose every show. So when I was running series development at Disney, which is what I did until I developed Gargoyles and then moved over, every 6 months I'd go up in front of Michael with 5 or 6 shows, pitches, and he would kill most of them, which, meant they're dead, but he'd pick 1 or 2, because he had
a vision.
Yeah, he'd pick 1 or 2, and what was great, and I don't think we appreciated it at the time, because what we'd see is he's killing 5 of our babies, kind of thing. But what we didn't realize at the time is he'd pick 1 show and he was Michael fucking Eisner, so if every division either got on board or got out of the way. And then as conflicts started up at Disney between Eisner and Katzenberg, and between Roy Disney and Eisner and stuff like that, even before Michael left, he was accused of being a micromanager, and so he stopped choosing the shows, but he didn't choose 1 person to replace him. It became a committee.
One thing we don't usually talk a ton about with the convention coverage is just kind of the outside area, unless there's a bunch of off-site activities like something like San Diego, of course. But one of the things that to us is a real highlight and a strength of the Long Beach shows, both of them, is just the surrounding area. Is the town really kind of takes in the convention and seems to welcome it, and there's great rates at the Hyatt. We usually don't stay adjacent to the conventions just because it's so expensive, but the Hyatt really does a great job of kind of connecting with the Long Beach Comic and Horror Con and making sure that it's really affordable. Tons of great restaurants. You can walk out in the pier area there, be on the water. There's a comedy club over here, a Ferris wheel, the aquarium's just down the street, movie theater, just a ton of fun things, and a lot of them even offer discounts during the show. And so although it doesn't have anything to do specifically with the show itself, we did want to kind of add in this little part just to talk about, because it is definitely a strength of the show, and it is really one of the reasons why the show is one of our favorites, because outside of San Diego Comic-Con, it's one of the strongest shows in terms of kind of taking over a little bit of an area and giving that kind of vibe throughout the weekend. So a lot of fun there. All right, so there's always a big focus on comics at this show, and definitely this year more so maybe than ever. With their 5th anniversary show, the Artist Alley is huge, and it's just kind of taking over the whole center of the convention. It's a really kind of cool energy of just kind of being set there in the center and kind of everything emanating from that. So there's some fun laser tag on the exterior, obviously lots of comic vendors and things like that. We've got some publishers behind us, great stuff to see there, but definitely a huge strength is just the idea of the original art, the creators, and every year I'd say that's one of the areas of the show is kind of taking a step forward with more of a focus on that. So if you're looking for kind of that unique artwork, this is definitely a show for you. So let's go take a look around the floor, see what we can see in terms of the vendors, the artists, and also all the cosplay.
Come this way.
When is he going to be here?
Because I'm almost to the point where it seems like my money, so I'm going to send money's money, I'm going to stay home.
We are wrapping up for Long Beach Comic and Horror Con, and we're going to do our quick little under the con, which fitting, we're underneath the convention center now, and that's where we go under the hood of the show and talk about what works, what doesn't work, and some of the things we find. So real quick, definitely some cool toys on the scene there, a lot of good prices on toys. Picked up some Marvel Universe for $5 each in this case, and DC Collectibles $20 here. I would say across the board, there's a decent selection of toy vendors and a lot of good prices there, but definitely the thing the show's really about is the comics, and so picked up a ton of, you know, old Justice League and some Avengers and things like that, a lot of dollar bins, a lot of $5 bins, a lot of $3 bins and things like that, so that was all great. And then one thing with all that to really tie up, a big part of the show really though is that artist alley, and we mentioned that earlier in the video, and you got to see that as we kind of strolled around there, because our house is kind of so overwhelming with all sorts of little artwork and comics and things like that. We really don't do so much of buying of the artwork anymore, and so really we didn't buy anything in Artist Alley, but that wasn't because there wasn't a million amazing things. It was just that's kind of where we're at, is we're kind of putting ourselves on restriction from buying any of that stuff right now. But that being said, tons of tempting things, and that was really, I think, the heart of the show, and so much of what the show was about was that Artist Alley and kind of building from there. So looking at 2014, if you're somebody that's interested in unique artwork, creative things, and just meeting creators, it's a great spot to go and check out. And so lots of cool things out on the floor and throughout that exhibit hall at Long Beach this year. Looking forward to 2014. It's cool that there's going to be the 2-day show in the spring. They're moving upstairs, so it's going to be a little bit bigger of a room, and that's kind of be exciting to see how they approach that. And then coming back in the fall again, they're moving to a September show. So again, trying to find that sweet spot for the fall. Hopefully looking forward, one big thing that I'd love to see with the show is just a focus on maybe bringing in some more of the, you know, 1 or 2 of those big name creators, having a Robert Kirkman or a Jeff Johns or a Jim Lee, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, some people like that. That does a lot for the overall show. It brings in, I think, a lot of other people that may not come out to the show because it's got that one big draw, and that kind of does good for everyone. I know a lot of vendors, I know a lot of artists that will say, you know, that they'll want to come to a show because there is that A-lister that kind of brings them in. And so there's a ton of great talent there throughout the show this year, but I think, you know, as much as we love everyone, the DC and Marvel Big Two kind of bring in those extra names, so that'd be a fun thing to see next year if we see one of those names and kind of build the show around that. That being said, either way, we're definitely back at Long Beach next year. We love the show, we love the surrounding area. We think it's a great show in terms of it doesn't pretend to be anything that it's not. It's a comic-centric show. It's really about those Wednesday warriors. It's about those creative types. It's about the, you know, those that are interested in the art coming together and really kind of celebrating that weekend. It's not trying to be a Hollywood show, and that's great because there are enough cons out there that try and do the pop culture thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. It's just really nice when a show knows its identity, and I think Long Beach is pretty clear on what its identity is, which is really about those local creators and about you know, tying in just that artistic presence right in the center of the show. And I think in its 5th anniversary show, it's never shown it better than this year, with really that huge, you know, enormous artist alley, one of the biggest ones we've seen, right there at the heart of the show, and everything else kind of built around it on the periphery. So a lot of fun, great prices, you know, so I don't anticipate those becoming bad because it's been a great deal from day one. And so November is kind of the month of bargains, we say, with the cons. There's a lot of great shows and all with really great prices, and Long Beach is no exception to that. Great prices and great deal. An awesome way to end November, and an awesome way, we've got a couple more shows coming down the pipe, but this was our last kind of bigger show of the year, and it was an awesome way to end it. Had a lot of fun. Really appreciate the staff at Long Beach and the show they put together and the fun weekend that they throw out here. So we'll definitely be back in 2014, and so until the next show, we'll see you in line somewhere.